Welcome to another edition of MIW. Got the D-Man here, and I am glad you could join me today. Today I was thinking about the optimal fertility range according to age of women. And I started researching it on the internet, and what I found was that women are born with so many eggs and they don't reproduce those eggs. I did not know that. Now, if that's incorrect, someone email me and correct me on that. But that was strange. Now, they started talking about the sexual market value age range, and they said that a woman, I think, starts from 18 to, they probably said 18 because in the United States, the age of consent is 18. In some other countries, it's much younger than that. I would say it probably starts at 15 or even 14 in some other countries. It used to start that here, but the laws changed and people view things differently. But here in this article, they said 18. 18 to, I think, 22. I've heard 18 to 22, 25. Or after 22, it starts to decline. Or after 25, it starts to decline. Their sexual market value scale. And sometimes I've even felt empathy for women because their looks is what really makes them attractive to men. Not their education, not their skills or their abilities, but it's their appearance is what attracts men to women. Sometimes I think they think if they get these PhDs, that it's a great career, but men aren't interested in that. Well, sure, of course, you would prefer to have a woman who does something, but a man wants a woman that takes care of him, supports him, is loyal to him. That's what a man wants. Most men want this. Some men have been programmed to believe that they want a woman with a career and they could both have their careers and their kids. It really doesn't work that way. And many of these women who are waiting to have children are regretting it. Because by the time they get to be 30, even before that, their looks have started to fade. And I see it even with my son's friends. He's 20 years old. And some of the girls that he went out with when he was 16, 17, they started partying. And by the time they're 19, they look like they're 28 or 29. It wears on them so fast. They just don't understand that drinking, smoking, and sleeping around and having multiple sex partners diminishes their beauty, and no man of high value is going to be interested in that. But back to the article here. So it starts off like this. Dude, she's exactly 25% out of your league. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you think a girl's 25% out of your league, 50% out of your league, or 100% out of your league, she's going to be exactly that because that's what you believe. I don't believe there's any girl out of my league. Is that true? I don't care. I believe it's true that no one's out of my league. A massive new study of online dating finds that everyone dates aspirationally and that a woman's desirability peaks 32 years before a man's does. Now, this is a wider range than what I had heard before, but I do believe it makes a difference. So, you're at a party and you see someone cute across the room. They glance at you, maybe even a smile for a second, then carry on with their conversation. You feel the room shrink, your heart rate quickens, your face goes red. You're crushing on this stranger hard. But then the sensible part of your brain tells you to forget it. That person's way, way out of your league. I guarantee if you think she is, she's gonna be. Wait a second, you encounter, do dating leagues even exist? At this point, Elizabeth Bruch, I think, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, a professor of sociology at the University of Michigan, crashes into your thoughts process. And this new article, yep, she says, leagues do seem to exist, but you're not alone in trying to escape yours. 3/4 or more of people are dating aspirationally. Women date up, men date down. Usually that's the way it goes. And according to a new study, users of online dating sites spend most of their time trying to contact people out of their league. Once again, nobody's out of your league if you don't think they are. But I guarantee you, if you think they're out of your league, you will present yourself to them as someone lower status than they are. You don't even know you do it. In fact, most online dating users tend to message people exactly 25% more desirable than they are. Bruch would know. She spent the past 5 years studying how people make decisions and pursue patterns or pursue partners on online dating sites using exclusive data from the dating sites themselves. There's so much folk wisdom about dating and courtship and very little scientific evidence. She told me recently, my research comes out of realizing that with these large-scale dating sets, we can shed light on a lot of these old dating aphorisms. Okay. In the new study published Wednesday in the journal Science Advances, Bruch and her colleagues analyzed thousands of messages exchanged on a popular free online dating service between more than 186,000 straight men and women. They looked only at 4 metro areas: New York, Boston, Chicago, and Seattle, and only at messages from January 2014. So this is a little dated, 6 years. Imagine for a second that you're one of the users Bruch and her colleagues studied. In fact, imagine that you are a very desirable user, a high-status male. Your specific desirability rank would have been generated by 2 figures, whether other desirable people contacted you and whether other desirable people responded when you contacted them. If you contacted a much less desirable person, their desirability score would rise. If they contacted you and you replied, then your score would fall. The team had to analyze both first messages and first replies because, well, men usually make the first move. A defining feature of heterosexual online dating is that in the vast majority of cases, it is men who establish the first contact. More than 80% of the first messages are from men in our data set. The study says, but women reply very selectively to the messages they receive from men. Their average reply rate is less than 20%. So women's replies can give us a significant insight about who they are interested in. The team combined all the data by using the PageRank algorithm, the same software that helps inform Google's search results. Is found that insofar as dating leagues are not different tiers of hotness, but a single ascending hierarchy of desirability, then they do seem to exist in the data, but people do not seem universally locked into them, and they can occasionally find success escaping from theirs. The key Bruch said is that persistence pays off. Reply rates to the average message are between 0% and 10%, she told me. Her advice people should note those extremely low reply rates and send out more greetings. Michael Rosenfield, a professor of sociology at Stanford University who was not connected to this study, agreed that persistence was a good strategy. The idea that persistence pays off makes sense to me, as the online dating world has a wider choice set of potential mates to choose from. The sexual market is a world market now. These girls, even if they're a 5, they get hundreds of messages. I mean, if they're a 8 or a 10, which is variable and subjective to to the viewer, of course, or the interested party, that they get hundreds, thousands of messages. I went out with a girl one time that had like 18,000 followers on Instagram. She was a 7 or an 8. I wouldn't say she's a 10, but she was hot. And she had hundreds of messages. She didn't have her notification sound on her phone because it would be going off all the time. I didn't know anything about social media at the time, but if your girl's on social media and she's posting, provocative pictures, she's advertising herself as a single girl. And many times these girls don't want to put their boyfriend on there. They'll give you some excuse, but the bottom line is they want to keep their options open. And they probably even lie to themselves about why they don't want you on there. Of the study as a whole, he said, I think its conclusions are robust and its methodologies are sound. Yet what also emerges from the data is far more depressing idea of leagues than many joking friends would suppose. Across the 4 cities and the thousands of users, consistent patterns around age, race, and education level emerge. White men and Asian women are consistently more desired than other users. I like Spanish women. While black women rank anomalously lower. Brute said the race and gender stereotypes often get mixed up with the race acquiring gendered connotations. Asian is coded as female, so that's why Asian women get so much market power, and Asian men get so little, she told me. For black men and women, it's the opposite. But what we are seeing is overwhelmingly the effect of white preferences, she cautioned. Sounds a little racist, huh? The site is predominantly white, 70% white. If this was a site that was 20% white, we may see a totally different desirability hierarchy. Other people have done research using data from online dating sites and found similar racial and gender hierarchies, said Rosenfield, the Stanford professor. And Brunch emphasized that the hierarchy did not just depend on race, age, and education level, because it is derived from user behavior. It captures whatever traits people are responding to when they pursue partners. This will include traits like wittiness, genetic factors, or whatever else drives people to message, she said. Here are 7 other not entirely happy takeaways from Bruch's study. In this study, the men's desirability peaks at age 50. So that's what I wanted to get to for you men who think, I'm 38 years old, I'm getting old. No, if you've taken care of yourself and you look good, I've taken care of my body, I'm 60 years old. I will post a photo of myself here and you can see. It's not that hard to do. I don't stay at the gym 2 hours every day. I work out a half an hour, sometimes an hour every day, sometimes every other day. But on the average, I work out 4 to, depending on, I have a physical, my job is very physical, my business is very physical. I put in about 5 to 6 hours of physical labor a day. The other hours are mental. So now if I'm not doing a lot of physical labor, I may work out a couple hours a day, once or twice a week, and the other days will be a half an hour, once a day, or sometimes twice a day. It depends, but I stay physically active. Now, you don't have to put 2 hours a day at the gym, but if you're going to sit on your butt all day and watch TV and not do anything, or if you have an office job where you don't actually walk much and you sit almost all day, there is no reason you can't get up and put in a half an hour at least in the morning and a half an hour in the evening. I have 6 kids, so I don't want to hear that you don't have time to do it. So I have 2 or 3 businesses. I have 6 children I've been raising by myself for 9 years, and if I can find time to do that, you can too. You can find time to do things that are important to you. So the good news is, men, 50 years old, you are not old. And I've seen other guys that are in as good a shape as I'm in. I think they're divorced men over 50. There's a guy that has a YouTube site or YouTube channel. He is in great shape too. So it can be done. Even if you're out of shape now, you can always improve. Go to the gym. And it's not so much to get the women attracted to you. Women are attracted to looks more so than I recently thought. But you feel good about yourself and you feel attractive, and thus you present that aura or personality to other people of confidence. When you feel good about the way you look, it you project that to the girls you're interested in. When I'm with a girl, I take my clothes off. I like being nude in front of her because I know I look good. Now, there was a time in my early 20s when I gained quite a bit of weight. I got up to like 184 pounds. Now, everyone else, because of the society we live in, didn't think I was fat, but I did not feel good about myself. I didn't even want to go out because I had to wear bigger pants and I was just kind of flabby. It was, for me, it was tough. I guess a lot of people get used to it, but in the part of the country where I live, it's got to be 80% overweight or obese, the men and the women. So it doesn't take much. And in other parts of the country, I've heard it's about the same, to be unique and to be in shape. Think about when you see an older man in his 50s or maybe even his 60s. He's in shape, he's got a trim waist, maybe he's 160, 180 pounds. He walks straight, he's got good posture. That man dresses nice, he stands out from the crowd. Now, there are a lot of guys in their 20s that are in good shape, six-pack abs. I'm 60 years old, I got six-pack abs, I'm in great shape. I weigh about 155, which is the same weight I fought as a professional boxer. Okay, I eat good, I take care of myself. It's really not that difficult. Stay away from fast food. Hey, once a week, it's okay. I may eat a McDonald's fish sandwich once in a while because it tastes good. There's not much in there though. Vitamins, minerals, things to build up your immune system, it's not there. You need to buy organic as much as you can, although I realize that it's very expensive. If I buy $10 worth of regular food, if I buy the same thing organic, it's probably going to cost $15 or $20. But think about the offset to your health bill. If you take care of yourself, you're not going to be as sick as often. I'm 60 years old. I'm not sick. I don't have to take medications. I just eat good, okay? I do take vitamins. I haven't taken vitamins all my life, but I do take vitamins, okay? I do what I do because this is the only body I got. I'm going to maintain it as long as I can, which is until I decide to move on to the other realm. But you can do the same thing. So I know you may feel old when you're 40 or 50 because they start sending you those AARP things. I started getting them when I was 50 years old. American Association of Retired Persons or something like that. Retirement, I don't think about retirement. What does that mean? Now, I think about doing a different business, less physical labor than I'm doing now, but if I did or when I do that, I will probably work out more. I love to run, but I don't run hardly, I don't run a lot anymore because it takes so much out of my legs that when I work, I don't walk as fast as I like to. When I'm at work, I like to really walk fast. I like to really move quickly and fluidly and efficiently. So that takes a lot away from me, as where the weightlifting doesn't do that. Okay, let's go on. But women's desirability starts high at age 18. I would venture to say that it may start earlier than that. But for sake of legal things, they probably say 18, and falls throughout their lifespan. Well, maybe they are right. Starts high. What she's saying is it starts high at 18 and falls. So to me, it appears she says it starts falling at age, maybe it peaks at age 18. I'm not quite sure what she means by that. Maybe we'll go on and see. Okay. Oh, here it is here. Desirability rank. All the ages. Okay, here. Women. At the age of, yeah, she says at the age of 18 to 20 is their peak. So I guess she is assuming they start younger because women can bear children, I think, when they're 13 years old. So she's saying they peak at 20. and it drops at 20. 5%. Okay. And she goes all the way up to 60, as where a man, what she's saying here from her statistical study is that a man is still at his highest level. And I believe this because, like I said, I'm 60 years old. I got 6 kids. I have 5 boys, 20 years old, 18, 17, 16. And their girlfriends tell them how hot that I am. To them, they tell them, and they come and tell me. Okay, it surprises me, but as I see this, maybe it makes a little sense. But I'm in good shape. You can do this too. And these girls are good looking. My sons are handsome. I'm fortunate they're handsome and healthy. So what? And actually, this makes me feel even better too, because okay, so according to her study, the peak is still at 50. You've peaked out at 45, and she says it drops just a little bit, a couple percent at 60. But even at 65, she shows it still being high. I think a lot of that has to do with, as a man ages, his status, his stability, at least it should improve or be high. And women are attractive to inner strength. Inner strength also comes from having wisdom and experience. If you've gone through the ringer in your life a few times, and more than likely if you're 50 or 60, and you do any kind of self-introspection, you have, and you've grown from that. So you have a certain amount of wisdom and strength that they are not going to get in a 20-year-old man. So they're talking about the men peaking at age 45 to 50, maintaining that peak to probably 58 years old. 60, it drops just a little bit. But then again, that depends on the man. It also depends on the culture. Because in the United States, we do not honor age as much as they do in other parts of the world. And I recommend you fish in a different pond. American women are programmed to be career women, that they're equal with men. And I'm not saying they're equal or not equal, but a woman, if you want a woman to take care of you and wash your clothes, clean your house, and be your woman and support you, the U.S. is not a very good place to find one of those, because they view that as slavery. Now, I can see them viewing that as slavery, but on the other hand, if they view that as slavery, then they need to view the man as being a slave to her, because he's out there working. He's paying for everything for her. He's supporting her. He's taking care of her, everything. Is he a slave for her? It's the same thing if you want to view it with that type of a perception. So yes, this is encouraging. At 60, 65, her study, and as it said, she did a lot of statistics from dating sites, reveals that men peak at the age of 50. Now, I've heard 35, but what I've heard through other people and other studies is men can maintain their sexual market value much longer than women, and I believe that. And that's why sometimes I'm glad I'm not a woman, because so much of their value is based on their beauty. And so many of them don't take care of themselves, and I see it around here. By the time they're 18 years old, they're at their peak looks, and then they start going downhill if they don't take care of themselves. They don't go to the gym. I always say it's all free for men and women until you get to be about 18. Then you got to work for it as far as your physical appearance. It's really not that hard to take care of yourself, but we live in a society of at least the American society of casual or whatever. It's hard for me to tell the difference between the teachers and the students at school. When I was younger, the women all wore slacks or dresses. The men, a lot of times, like my father worked as he worked at Boeing. It was McDonnell Douglas then, and he wore, like, not suits, but collared shirts and khakis to work. He was a sheet metal man, a riveter. He built he built the planes, the space shuttles, and things like that. Physically with his hands. He was a worker. a blue-collar worker. Okay, and he dressed, he didn't wear old tore-up jeans to work and raggedy tennis shoes. And now you see people in places like Walmart and these stores going in there with pajamas and flip-flops, and the girls just put their hair up in a in a ponytail, no makeup, and some old T-shirt with some writing on there. And the boys and young men are doing similar to the same. I don't really know what happened here, but it's not like that in all countries. So I recommend you fish in a different pond if you don't like that. If you like that, hey, go for it. Okay, she goes on to say, everybody knows, and as a sociologist, it's been shown that older women have a harder time in the dating market. Yes, the big lie that you can wait. Wait till you're 30. Have your career. Have your fun. Have your fun in your 20s. Ride the carousel. I won't go into detail on that. Got to watch my language on YouTube. So they ride the carousel in their 20s because all the men want them if they've somewhat taken care of themselves. And then they get older and they don't know why they can't find a good man. They've had many offers, but no, they want to party, they want to have fun. And the problem is nobody tells them what's going to happen when they get older, because this is all what they're hearing is from a woman's perspective. They believe the big lie that you're going to be wanted by a high-value man when you get to be about 28, 29, or 25, 30, whatever it is. 25 is not too bad, but they start so early now, it's like by the time they get there, they've been with a lot of different guys. And it's not hard to tell. You can just listen to what they're saying. They want to sell you purity like they're a good girl. But if you just listen and watch, you can find out how many guys they've been with. And no high-value man wants a woman that's been with a lot of different men because they can't pair bond. He may take her out and have fun with her. Yeah, that's great, but you can't have any kind of relationship with you. Most women nowadays don't know how to keep a man. They think all they need is their beauty. Well, I've been out with a lot of beautiful girls, and it takes a hell of a lot more than that. Because a lot of what you guys don't recognize is, I don't care how beautiful she is, you're going to get tired of her crap if she's not a good woman. I said that for years. There used to be a model named Cindy Crawford. Some of you may remember her. And I would tell guys, I said, look, she's beautiful. I'd like to be with her, but I don't care. I'd be tired of her after 6 months. And I would be, because at that time, I was just wanting to have sex with girls. That's all I wanted to do. But even now, I know and always knew that it doesn't matter how beautiful they are. If they're not a good woman and they don't want to follow your lead, you're going to get tired of them. And even if you love them, you're going to walk away from them because you'll go nowhere with them. They will drag you down. You can't pick her up, but she will drag you down. And we go on. But I was also surprised to see how flat men's desirability was over the age distribution. She said, for men, it peaks around 40 or 50, especially in New York. I don't know about why that is. New York is a men's market, at least according to this particular study. It's not just that older men are considered more desirable in New York. New York is a special case for men, Bruch told me. It's the market with the highest fraction of women, but it's also about it being an incredibly dense market. Seattle is a woman's market, and also the only place where men succeed by sending longer opening messages. I see these women complain on dating sites because I'm on some. I will say more than just, hey. I am not going to sit there and write a long message and have you never read it or never respond. I'll say hello or hey or what's up. I don't say what's up. I may put one line, but 9 times out of 10, if you write a long message, they'll never contact you back because it comes off as being needy. I'll say hey. If they respond, they're interested. If they're not, on to the next one. They expect all this from people. Part of the problem is we got so many thirsty simps out there and these women are used to that. These guys supplicating themselves to them. And I don't do that. And I recommend you don't do that because that will get you nowhere with the woman. And if she does contact you back, there's a really good chance if you're supplicating to her like a simp or asking her if she would go out on a date with you. You know what you tell them? hey, you should meet me for a coffee. And she comes back and says, okay, meet me at Starbucks, 10 o'clock on Thursday. If she says, sure, let's go, meet her there. If she says, call me before so we make sure we're going, I wouldn't call her. Say, look, if you can't set a solid date right now, I'm a busy guy, we'll just have to make it for some other time. That's called the takeaway. You can do that, and if she says, okay, I'll go, fine. If she doesn't, she's not that interested, don't waste your time, because women have a tendency to flake. And remember, when a woman flakes on you and she doesn't show up, it's happened to me, it's not you. Women are just flaky. And here's the deal. If she flaked on you, you really didn't want to meet her anyway because she's not a woman who stands behind what she says. That shows you that her integrity and her character is not desirable. It's low. She is a low-value woman. Across all 4 cities, men and women generally tended to send longer messages to people who were more desirable than them. Remember that. Treat all women the same. Treat the ones you think are beautiful the same as you do the ones that you just think are okay. Women especially deployed this strategy. But the only place it paid off and the only people for whom it worked with statistically significant success were men in Seattle. The longer messages in the study were sent by Seattle men, the study says, and only Seattle men experience a payoff to writing longer messages. Once again, don't write long messages. That doesn't work. It's a waste of time. Women's prospects dim not only as they age, but as they achieve the highest level of education. There you go. This is a study by a woman, and she's telling you that your education does not matter, speaking to women. Actually, as they achieve a higher level of education, it dims their prospects. But they're told by the woman's agenda movement, or whatever you want to call it, because I can't say that other F word, that these things make her desirable to men, more attractive to men. But it doesn't. This is done by a womanist study. I'll read it again. Women's prospects dim not only as they age, but as they achieve the highest level of education. Men don't care about your education, only in respects that you're at least doing something, and maybe you're not going to lay around the house all day and watch TV and eat bonbons. If you got an education, that shows the man that you are ambitious and you're willing to work for something. The only thing he wants you to work for really is him. You need to be, I'm speaking to women again, and mostly my subscribers are men, and thank you for subscribing. Okay. A more educated man is almost always more desirable on average. Men with postgraduate degrees outperform men with bachelor's degrees. Men with bachelor's degrees beat high school graduates. Well, I didn't even graduate from high school, but I outdo many people with degrees. It's the kind of man, it's what's inside of you. You can get the education you want. I've been educating myself for the last 30 years with things I can use to become, more successful. Like Jim Rohn says, if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job or your business, you'll never want for anything. And that is so true, because everything that you desire comes from within you. Work on yourself. Do the work. But for women, an undergraduate degree is most desirable, the study says. Postgraduate education is associated with decreased desirability among women. Postgraduate education is associated with decreased. The education doesn't increase her desirability, it decreases it. Contrary to what they're taught and what the social constructs portray or put out there. Men did not find more success when they sent happy messages. Across all 4 cities, men tended to use less positive language when messaging more desirable women. They may have stumbled upon this strategy through trial and error because in all four cities, men experience slightly lower reply rates when they write more positively worded messages. I find that to be true too, because there were a couple times that either the woman contacted me or I contacted her, and of course I get their WhatsApp and I have them send me real photos in real time, because you're going to find out many times they look a lot different when you get a photo of them right now, and they're not all, well, they have those filters and everything. It's just a real-time real photo. So she sent me the real-time real photo, and I was not interested. And she told me she was starting a business. So I tried to encourage her like I would, not because I wanted anything to do with her, but I like to encourage and inspire people. And I did that with her. And she like blew me off. Okay, what I mean was we talked a couple sentences and she just didn't message me anymore. So I'm like, okay, good, because I was trying to figure out how to get rid of her. About a week or two later, she contacts me. Why haven't you been contacting me? And I'm like, well, I sent the last message. And she's like, oh, well, my phone messed up or this or this or that. But I realized then, and this has happened before, that it was because I encouraged her. And I told her, I said, look, most people don't start a business. I said, but you're doing it. That's different. I encouraged her like I would a male friend. And then that turns women off. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I think they see it as supplication or trying to get her favor, even though it's not. That's the way they perceive it, because there's so many thirsty, needy guys out there that do that just to get in a woman's pants. And if you do that same action, even though it's not coming from the same place, now this is on text messaging and WhatsApp, then they perceive it, but I've done it in person too, it doesn't work either. They perceive it as you trying to get their approval, which that's not what it is, and that's not what it was. Okay. Okay. Almost no one messages users less desirable than they are. Most people seem to know their position on the hierarchy because they most contact people who rank the same. The most common behavior for both men and women is to contact members of the opposite sex who, on average, have roughly the same ranking as themselves. Bruch and her colleagues write. But the overall distribution is skewed because a majority of both sexes tend to contact partners who are more desirable than themselves on average, and hardly any users contact partners who are significantly less desirable. Your online dating experience is not as bad as this poor woman's in New York. The most popular individual in our four cities, a 30-year-old woman living in New York, received 1,504 messages during the period of observation. The study says this is equivalent to one message every 30 minutes, day and night for the entire month. Yikes. Yeah, yikes is right. This is what a lot of you guys don't understand. With the social media being a world market now, the sexual market is a world market. These women get hundreds and hundreds of messages. So if you send them a message and they don't reply right away, don't be getting pissed off because they didn't respond to you. They may not even see your message. I get responses to almost, I haven't never figured a percentage, but I know it's 50 to 75% of my messages, if not more. Sometimes they don't respond, but actually it's rare. It may be less than 10 or 20% don't respond to me. Now, it may not go anywhere, but they respond. Because I've done it for years, I know what to say, what not to say. Occasionally I screw up and say something I shouldn't, but I never tell her she's beautiful. I don't do any of that kind of stuff because they hear that crap every day. Oh, you're so beautiful, whatever. I don't compliment them on anything. I may relate to something they said in their profile. That's usually what I'll do if I don't just say hey. If they have private photos on certain sites they do, I'll click for those. I may or may not say hey, but it's different in different parts of the world. In South America, there are some beautiful women down there. A lot of beautiful women. There's a lot of competition, so they are more responsive down there. The U.S., it's slim pickings. And if there's a good looking girl on there, she's getting hundreds of messages, and I'm telling you, get out of the States. If you want to date some good feminine women, go somewhere else in the world. And I'm not talking about Asia. You don't have to go to the Philippines or Vietnam or someplace like that. Unless you want to, that's fine too. Fish in a different lake. Okay, so we go on to talk about this woman. 30 messages, or a message every 30 minutes, day and night. Well, I guess that's the end of the article. But basically, that gives you some idea of online dating. And also, you're not as old as you think you are. Society would have you retired at 50. You know, they're always selling that crap, retired. People talk, when are you going to retire? Why should I retire? I mean, I'm 60 years old, but what is that supposed to mean? I'm only old if I think I'm old. Sure, one day I'll die, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go. But not today. I'm not ready. I still have goals, visions, dreams. In a big black book I read sometimes, I'm not a religious man, it says, without a vision, the people perish. How many people retire and they sit at home and watch TV and they die within a year or two? They don't have anything to do. You're sending a message to the universe, to God, divinity, whatever you like to call it, that you're done. You're not useful. You have no service to provide anymore. Now, if you retire from a job, or let's just say how about we put it this way? Let's say you quit a job and you do something else. I mean, that's what I think about doing. My business, I want to turn over to my sons, and I want to continue with my YouTube channel. I've written a book, which will be coming out in November. This is the third delay, the end of November. I may write another book. So I have other things I'm doing. So never think about retiring. When I was 17 years old, I worked for a guy that was 75 years old, and he could work me under the table. He worked, I think, till he was 85 years old. Those are the people I admire. I talked to another guy the other day. He worked for many years, and he loved what he did. I love what I do. I love talking to you guys. I love sharing this with you guys. And if this is of value to you, smash that like button right now. Subscribe. And if you would like to get my help personally, you can contact me at marksinspirationalguidance@gmail.com. The email will be in the description. Thanks for joining me. Be cool.